Canada has to be much more action-oriented.
A lot of the intersection, when you look at bioeconomy, really is biofuels. And a lot of them we can make here and can continue to make here as well. I'm Andrea Kent. I'm with Renewable Industries Canada, who is a representation of biofuels producers and growers, longtime supporter of the Scaling Up Conference, and we're also one of the co-founders of the Farms and Fuels Alliance.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Shaun, Haney, Real Agriculture, first time at Scaling Up Conference. It's been a great day here. Real Agriculture is a Canadian media outlet that focuses on farm issues across the country, and of course, biofuels is one of them.
Wonderful. So first of all, what was your sort of take of this conference this year? I mean, we are 1 week after the budget as per this recording. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges that I won't start naming, but we all know globally and in the region in particular. How would you say the tone was at this conference? Whoever wants to take it first.
Yeah, I think very well timed because there is a lot of challenges for Canada right now. Obviously, like you said, we're just a week after the budget. Still has to be implemented, but it's a very timely discussion in the sense that the bioeconomy or biofuels really present the opportunity for Canada to have domestic production, manufacturing production, create jobs. A lot of that would happen from an agricultural perspective in rural communities, which is another thing that the Prime Minister is very keen to do. So I think it's well timed to have a meeting like Scaling Up.
We'll talk about rural communities more specifically. I wonder if either of you, perhaps I could start with you, Andrea, could define the bioeconomy for folks who perhaps see it as something perhaps a bit broad and perhaps, multifaceted.
Yeah, absolutely. It is complex and it is multifaceted. It really is encompassing a lot of elements of biomass, agriculture. You also have technology, manufacturing, and then the markets that it serves, right? So, really looking at even the ethanol molecule, very, very well known in fuel circles for being a low carbon fuel, more affordable than gasoline, absolutely something that's widely available. But this group also, encompasses more nascent technologies and, opportunities that are still in development and not yet fully commercialized, but hold a lot of promise. So it is complex and it really does span, from the farm all the way through, to a fuel tank, potentially looking at other energy and transportation modes. But I think one of, the things that I'm taking away from it is you can call the moment that we're in right now, and Shaun highlighted, the priorities coming out of the budget and the timing excellently. You can look at where we are right now and the challenge of coming up with a comprehensive bioeconomy strategy, which has been something this group has been working on for a decade, or you can just look at some really targeted, really practical things that can accelerate it. And that's one of the things that I'm taking away, looking at the United States' approach through its production tax credits for biofuels production. That's amazing for domestic producers and for growers present day, but it's also what's going to unlock those other elements of the bioeconomy that require maybe a little bit more time or a little bit new technology development or are in more nascent forms of biomass that we're absolutely looking, for homes for.
I think when we look at the evolution of the Canadian bioeconomy, I think one of the messages here that we tried to get forth to the audience was we got to move faster. Yeah. Canada has to be much more action-oriented and less navel-gazing and really looking at things from the perspective of we got to build the ultimate consensus. We want to get it so perfect. We've let perfection be the enemy of progress. And I really think that we have to move faster and we can fix it. It's not permanent, but we really do need to take action at a much more higher accelerated rate than our culture has been doing.
Does this industry also suffer a communication challenge? I've been attending for about 6 years, and I feel like every year I hear the same. And on your panel, you also pointed to the lack of farmers in the room, which is obviously a very important stakeholder of this industry from a supply side point of view.
We're in a very, very definite moment right now. I think, Canadians, growers, producers, it feels different, right? It feels different in my personal life. It feels different in my professional life. So I think that that's an opportunity and a message that we have to engage differently as well. So, the path forward is, I think, where we should be looking, right, Shaun, and coming up with a new way to kind of tell the story better.
And so how, Shaun?
Well, I think it's great to have farmers involved in conversations like this, but also this is not the farmer's expertise. The farmer, I think we need to have them involved so that they understand what the potential is and what the opportunity is, especially as it applies to feedstock demand. But really, for a lot of the experts that are in the room here, they have to come up with some of the solutions and what this framework needs to look like for Canada to be really competitive on the global stage. Because right now, you might argue that we're doing a lot of talking and we're not necessarily taking advantage of the opportunity in front of us.
Yeah, that's loud and clear. Is there a silver bullet? Is there like a lane that we should perhaps take immediately? Is there a project? Is there a policy? I know it's a lot of questions, but is there something that really is right in front of us that we're not doing that we could start January 1st and that would have a meaningful impact, maybe for its own lane, but perhaps for the entire economy?
I think optimizing the policies that we already have and making sure that they are not just responsive to the trade environment that we're in, but they also, kind of level up and continue to serve us going forward, during and also beyond kind of this reorientation around some of our classical and traditional trade relationships. So I would look at what we have right now, listen to the people who are doing the work right now and growing it right now, figure out what those optimizations look like, and then, incremental progress, going forward.
Yeah, what comes to mind, honestly, and it's not necessarily a project, Andrea is more familiar with all that, I think it's really trying to make things simpler. And there's a tremendous amount of complexity that comes with the CFR. If we are going to relook at, the current government is going to relook at it, if that is in there.
Clarify what the CFR is?
The Clean Fuel Regulation. Yeah. Are there ways to make it less complex and maybe where it's not as much a barrier for a lot of people to get their head around the opportunity that's in front of them?
It's a really great point, because I think it also allows us to differentiate between what would be regulatory complexity, right? Which isn't unique to biofuels or bioeconomy. A lot of manufacturing industries and certainly agriculture have some nascent, complexity. But then there's the program administration. That's absolutely well within our wheelhouse, right? We can get out of our way there, I think, when it comes to the complexity in some of the program management and alleviating. I mean, people say red tape, green tape, whatever color tape you want to say, right? But I think that, stop obsessing, like you were saying, Shaun, about this being the biggest, the most complicated, the most all-encompassing, and let's just get out of our way a little bit, simplify the administration, focus on what works. I think, yeah.
That was my key takeaway, not let perfection be the enemy of progress. Yeah. Ending up on a somewhat lighter note. First off, Jeff Passmore, 10 years of scaling up. You said you've been there from the beginning, and this is your first, so perhaps two different takes here. What does this event represent, basically, for the industry? Why does it matter in this digital age for people to meet in this beautiful, monumental, hotel and to have these conversations?
Let's start with the rookie.
Yeah. Well, I think it really does take people like Jeff to bring groups to, people, stakeholders together to have these kind of conversations. And it's not only the great agenda in the room, but it's also the conversations that are happening in the foyer, the hallway like this is really where I think we really have, people. I met a lot of people here today I've never met before, which is really fantastic. It allows you to kind of make those connections going forward to really kind of try to move the industry forward.
I thought you were going to say it's not just what happens in the ballroom, but it's also the pastries that they keep, feeding us. I was going to say stuffing us, but feeding us.
The networking is so solid. I have not yet even had a pastry in my 2 days here. So absolutely. I don't think that you celebrate a milestone like a decade like this without having an absolute need, but also just ambition, right? A champion. Absolutely.
And finally, I wonder if you could explain for those who are wondering what I'm holding in my hand right now. Maybe you can do it while speaking in the microphone.
Well, listen, we flagged some issues and some opportunities. We're trying to be part of accelerating the connection between bioeconomy and agriculture. So this is for the Farms and Fuels Alliance. It's a new group that started up this year, and it's bringing together biofuels producers as well as the local farmers that we work with day in and day out, and really start telling a story, not just of, progress and what we've done, and making sure that our policies and our citizens don't take that for granted, but also that they see a really, really clear value going forward to continue with this. Because I think a lot of the intersection, when you look at bioeconomy, really is biofuels. And a lot of them we can make here and can continue to make here as well.
Wonderful. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure to speak with you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.